I think we should go in
She
there and
said,
just,
so
still gotta
what,
take
can you
notes.
look at this and tell me what x cannot be right now?
-0.
Alright.
See, I told you class went to 1/2.
Okay, so we know that in a fraction, the denominator can't be 0. Gabe, have a seat. So if I look at this, the only thing that would make 3x squared equal 0 is a 0. The only thing that makes 2x equal 0 is a 0. Does 6 ever equal 0? No. So that's all we have to worry about. What happens if I get 0 for my final answer? We would say no solution. It doesn't work. Okay. Our strategy. I'm going to write this again so I have more space.
Oh, crap.
Was to get rid of the fraction. So if I'm looking at this first one, what would cancel a 3x squared?
3x.
Yeah, you basically just multiply by the denominator. But if you do it on one, you have to do it on all of them. Now, ultimately, I don't want to just go through and multiply by every denominator because that might make my problem more complicated than it needs to be. So let's see where we're at here. These cancel out of my second denominator. Does anything cancel? We can cancel 1x. What about this one? Does anything cancel? 3 and 6, that would reduce to a 2. All right, so now in this fraction, the denominator's gone. This one has a 2 left, so I have to multiply by 2. If I do it on one, I do it on all of them. So then those cancel, and my final 2 cancel. So now all my denominators are gone. So what I'm left with here, I have 7 times 2. I have 9 times a 3x. And I have a negative 13 times an x squared. Is everybody okay to that point?
Not yet.
So now, what do I have to do? Yeah. It's quadratic, so we need to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to bring over my 13x squared. Alright, any greatest common factor here?
No.
So to factor that, we would have to do is flip and slide.
What do you do?
Huh?
182.
Thank you. So what multiplies to 182 and adds to 27?
14.
And then what do we have to do? So we get x plus 1, 13x plus 14. So we set each of those to 0, and we get negative 1 and negative 14 over 13. Are both of those okay answers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing we couldn't get was 0. So this works. We just got 2 answers this time. If one of your answers had been 0, but the other one worked, then you would just cross off the 0 and give me the one that worked. Is that one okay? What? I got interrupted.
Would we factor it?
Yes. We don't want to make our problem harder than it has to be. So it helps if your denominators are factored first. X squared minus 7x, what could you do to factor that? Greatest common factor of x. How do you factor x squared minus 49?
Difference of squares. 7 and negative 7.
Can you move your elbow?
reason is, if this weren't 0 over there, you would have to multiply it to 7. Okay, so to get rid of this first denominator, I will have to multiply by everything, x and x minus 7. If you do it to one term, you do it to all of them. So these cancel, and that denominator is entirely gone. What about the second fraction? Alright, so now what do we need to multiply by? We have to do it to everything.
And would the one on the left side cancel out because the denominator is 0? Oh wait, no, that was a dumb question. Never mind, sorry.
No, it's fine. Are you sure you're good?
Yeah.
The denominator becomes a 1 once everything cancels. So these x plus 7's cancel. So now what I have, and you don't necessarily have to write this out, but I do just to show you. The first term I'm left with a 4 times x plus 7 minus 1 times x. Over here, what's 0 times anything?
0.
Equals negative 28. I subtracted my 28 over.
3.
Can you tell me on this problem, what could x not have been? Look at my factor form. If you have just a plain x, that means x can't be 0. You had an x minus 7, so x couldn't be positive 7. And then we had an x plus 7, so it couldn't be. So I didn't get any of those answers, so mine is okay. Do you guys think you can try a problem?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. How about here's your problem. I have a couple options. Some people recognize like this is a cross multiply problem, or we can do just how we have been. To get rid of this one, you take it times 2x, and this times 2x. To get rid of this denominator, we have to multiply by 3. So we take this one times 3. So if you distribute, we get 3x plus 12 equals 2x squared minus 2x. I like my square term to be positive, so I'm moving everything to the right. So we have to do slip and slide here. So that gives us x minus ax plus 3. Divide those by 2, so we get x minus 4 and 2x plus 3. Set those equal to 0 and you get 4 and negative 3 halves. What could x not be on this problem?
0.
So this answer is okay.
Do we have to have that? X cannot equal 0?
So I will ask you to check
On the test?
on these. So on the test, if you didn't write that down and you failed to mark it off on your final answer, you would miss more.
So we need it.
I would write it down. Yeah. Now,
Just
well,
say we need it.
okay, you need it, Gage. Write it down.
I'm just confused
How do you know that how do you know it?
Okay. What would make you take your denominators? So if you set 2x equal to 0, you get 0. The other denominator is 3. Does 3 ever equal 0? No. So the only thing it can't be is the 0.
I was just confused by how you told me that the time difference I switched to internet was wrong.
You were.
Do it all the way down.
Well, I told you that.
X equals 4.
Well, it's right. It's
Ours.
ours. That's what you have
Yeah, they're not molded to your head yet.
You were going to get a positive.
I didn't want to bother them when I left my open.
Okay, we're gonna try maybe a couple more.
Alright. Two can play this game.
See, I was five with like, before, it was just like, do it too much.
Doing too much.
I feel like it's not.
Alright, so before we do anything, can you tell me what x cannot equal?
2 and 0.
We looked at our denominators. What makes x minus 2 equal 0?
2.
That's a positive 2. What makes x equal 0? That's 0. Does the third denominator give us anything different? No. So those are the only answers we cannot have. So now we start canceling the denominators.
So could you, multiply, does it have to be in order from left to right, or can you multiply by x?
Sure.
You gotta cancel out first.
Yep, that's fine too. So I have to multiply by an x minus 2 to everything. And that cancels the first denominator entirely and part of the last one. And then I also need to multiply by an x.
Wait, so on the last one, do we have to multiply by x minus, or x minus 2?
It was 2 times x, so we just multiplied by the 2x. So whatever's on the bottom, that's what you multiply by. Or you're asking
Yeah, I'm
about
talking about
this?
one.
Yes, so since that's x minus 2, we already multiplied by it here,
Okay,
so it
you don't have to
cancels.
multiply them all again.
Right.
Alright,
Quadratic or easy method?
Alright, so when you go to multiply, you have to make sure you're distributing. You have a 3x plus 2 all times an x. We have 1 times the x minus 2. And we have a negative 2 left over here. So if I add my like terms, I get 3x squared plus 3x minus 2 equals negative 2. What would you do next?
Add the 2.
When you add over that 2, what happens?
Cancels.
GCF.
That's my bad.
What is our GCF?
3x.
And that leaves us with?
X plus 2.
That's why.
That would be.
So, you get each of those equal to 0, and we get
It'd just
0.
be negative 1.
That would never work.
We said at the very beginning that x could not be a 0 or a 2.
So,
So-
no x.
We marked the 0 off, so our final answer is just negative 1.
Is 0 always gonna be something like k?
No, only if the denominator is just a single term. If you have a plus or a minus in it. Alright,
We good?
one final problem for the day.
This better be the last one.
I promise, last one.
Uh-huh.
You can have 20.
Last few more. Oh, wait. And Lucy's, you came along.
Oh, this one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. That's real messed up. I hope you know that.
It's actually kind of like Tom Brady.
Alright. What do we need to do
I
first?
can say all right on that.
Factor. I don't want to just start multiplying by all
Can we
this
not
stuff.
try this by ourselves first?
Oh, sure.
Roast.
You're on the right track. So everybody factored, right? On this one, don't erase everything. It was like one little thing that.
No, I didn't miss all the stuff, like the whole problem that I wrote that was fun.
Okay, right now.
So we have to take out the 2 and then factor. So did everybody get this part? Okay.
I just looked at
Where did I lose it?
You slip and slide.
Oh, slip and slide fails if you have a GCF.
You slip and slide.
So, to get rid of Well, can you tell me right now, based off this, what can x not equal?
2, -2, and 3.
And 0, right?
We don't have a plain x.
The 2 of them.
Right, but does 2 ever equal 0?
No.
But if it were 2x, you would be correct. So to get rid of the first one, we need x minus 2 and x minus 3. And take that to everything. Alright, so that all cancels. This cancels, and this cancels. So now what do I have to multiply by for the second fraction?
X plus 2.
So those cancel, these cancel. What do I have left on the bottom?
2.
So if you did the slip and slide and lost that GCF, all you have to do is your left-hand side needs to be multiplied by 2. That's all you've missed there. So what I'm left with, can I go ahead and say 2x times 2 is 4x times the x plus 2. 1 times 2 is 2 times the x minus 3.
2.
And over here we have x plus 3 times x minus 2. So we distribute. Alright. If I subtract over my x squared, that's a 3x squared. Subtract over my x, so 8 plus 2 minus 1. When I add my 6, lucky for us, those cancel. So we can have a GCF. Set those equal to 0 and we get,
0.
are both of those answers okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we couldn't have 0 or sorry, we couldn't have positive 3, but negative 3 is fine. Okay, there is a math